In today's video, I'm going to be ranking Air Force jobs. Now, obviously, there's like over 200 jobs, so I'm not going to rank every single one of them. But what I did do is grab like 3 or 4 from every category of jobs. And we're simply going to base it off of that, like the healthcare jobs, the maintenance jobs, the intelligence jobs, and things like that. So how I'm going to be ranking them is going to be very biased. It's not going to be in terms of pay because we all get paid the same, so it doesn't matter. Basically off of enjoyability, how simple or fun the day in the life of the job is, and the things you do, if you can travel, things like that. And then how transferable that job is going to be once you're done with the Air Force. Say like, I don't know, if you're a pilot, a jet pilot, obviously you're not going to be a jet pilot in real life, in the civilian world, quote unquote. So starting off right away with the health and wellness category, we're going to be doing allied health. This is like your physical therapists, your optometrists, pharmacists, audiologists, things like that. Automatic A tier. I'm not going to put it at S. I'm not going to put it at D. I think it's very enjoyable, very satisfying work. Obviously, you're helping people, and you can instantly transfer those skills to the outside world, or the civilian world, as military people like to call it. But it's a very good career path. Anything related to allied health is probably pretty good anyway. I kind of wish going back that I took some more time into what job I was going to do, and I probably would have did something in healthcare. That way I don't have to, be in the program that I am in now. I could have just already been it. But moving on, we're going into dentistry. So your dentists, your orthodontists, things like that. Gonna put this also A tier, pretty much kind of the same thing, very transferable outside. You're a dentist. You're literally a dentist in the Air Force, and that job is pretty cool. Not much to say about that one. Moving on, healthcare administration. So your front desk healthcare workers, your people that coordinate things and deal with a lot of documentation and computer work. Probably not A tier, definitely not S. I'm gonna put this at B tier. It's kind of a useful job, but in terms of work life, how interesting it is, I probably wouldn't. Yeah, it's a B tier, plain and simple. Let's move on to nursing. Obviously nowadays it feels like everybody's in a nursing program, or you probably know someone in a nursing program. So to be a nurse in the Air Force, that's pretty cool. I was gonna put it at A tier, but it's going S tier. In terms of, it's so easy to be a nurse outside of it. Once you get out, the job satisfaction, the work-life balance is probably pretty good being a nurse. Automatic S tier. And then we have our physicians and surgeons category, but it covers a lot. Like these aren't the only jobs that are in the healthcare field. There's a ton. Okay, so if you're thinking about doing healthcare, do your research. And any of these jobs, do your research, of course. So up next we have our diagnostic radiologists. So like our radiologic technologists, they take x-rays, or an MRI technologist, you're using machines, you're taking scans of people's bodies. A tier. I even thought about, before going into my physical therapy program that I'm in now, to do something similar to this. And if I was able to do that in the Air Force, man, oh my God, you'd be making a ton of money outside. And it's also really cool. The job is awesome, very transferable. A tier. All right, we're going to switch categories now and move on to the maintenance and repair category. These jobs suck right away, so you can see what type of rating I'm probably going to give them. Starting with facilities, construction, maintenance, and support. This is like your construction workers, pretty much, in the Air Force. This is like your HVAC, your pest control, structural. That's literally the word title for a job, structural. You're probably doing construction. So HVAC, it's a good skill to learn. Obviously, a lot of people go to apprenticeships to learn how to be, air conditioning, things like that. Pretty useful skill. In terms of work-life balance and enjoyability, though, I'm probably gonna have to put it at B tier. It's not terrible like C or D, but these guys, I do see them working pretty often and in different types of environments as well. So depending on where you work, it could be S tier or D tier, very kind of in between. Transferable outside though, so that's why I kind of gave it a B tier. Moving on to aircraft maintenance. This is probably one of the most soul-crushing jobs in the entire Air Force. Anything to do with maintenance on aircrafts, you are working 12-hour shifts. I had a roommate, and he was working 12-hour shifts, sometimes even more than that. He'd come home, he'd be tired as heck. And yeah, I know a lot of people who are aircraft maintenance people, they get worked to the bone, okay? So, maybe think about that. But, of course, if it's something you enjoy, go for it. Just know you're going to be working a lot. So, anything to do with aircraft maintenance, automatically, honestly, I'm putting it at D tier. It's probably one of the worst jobs you can have in the Air Force. I'm sorry. All the maintainers are going to be, like, roasting me, saying it's not that bad, but I don't know. It's just, from what I've seen, it's terrible. So, D tier. Then we have airframe inspection and maintenance. So these guys kind of inspect aircraft wings, make sure that parts aren't broken, kind of like an airplane. The guys that work on the wings and the outside surrounding structure. So not maintenance. I feel like maintenance really goes into replacing parts and fixing parts. These guys are more inspecting the surface level and fixing the things that you can see on the surface. So I'm gonna put that at D tier too, honestly. Nothing much to that. And now getting into the science and technology careers, starting with specialty electronics. These are your biomedical equipment, your radar weather guys. Not a bad job, I would say. I'm gonna put it at A tier because these guys work on medical equipment, and that's something that's really useful outside. As well as weather. I'm gonna put the weather at C tier. It's gonna be my first C tier. I don't really see how you don't hear a lot about weather people, I guess, for lack of a better word, outside. It's probably not that transferable to the civilian world. You could be working, you're also working outside doing things. I'm not sure what exactly they do, honestly, but it's gonna be C tier. And then we have space, missile, and weapons systems. So these are your nuclear weapons guys, your chemists, your like armament system people. These guys work on nukes, deal with this crazy things like that. I'm gonna put that at B tier. It's cool. Probably dealing with some really highly skilled things. Personally, I don't really know what they do, and I feel like it's not that transferable to outside. I mean, no normal person's gonna be working with nukes. And also, of course, do your research. Just because I'm listing like maintenance stuff at D tier doesn't mean you might not enjoy it. So next category is going to be aviation and flight, baby. This is what the Air Force is known for. Starting off with being a pilot, automatic S tier. Pilot in the Air Force, you're the face of the Air Force. Jet aircraft pilot, amazing job. Dealing with it's cool, You say you're a pilot, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, really? Wow, you're wearing your little flight suit, walking around base with your flight suit on. Everybody knows you're a pilot, or at least you fly." And I always admired pilots, so S tier. And then we have airborne support. This is your load master, flight engineer, flight attendant jobs as well. You could be a flight attendant in the Air Force. But aircraft load master, this S tier job as well. This is what I wanted to do. We'll get to my job, the job I had, but aircraft load master is what I wanted to do. These guys, you pretty much fly around the entire world dropping off things for people. So you're the one, packing up your aircraft, taking it to Mexico, dropping it off, taking like a little 2-3 day vacation there, packing up whatever you need from Mexico, going to Japan, traveling. I wanted to travel, and that's one of the best jobs you can have, being an aircraft load master. But obviously I didn't get it, so hey. S tier, moving on. Flight operations. These are your airborne, like these guys work on the aircraft. They're doing, radar, they're doing air traffic control. You might be a linguist, like you're flying over a enemy location and you're listening to radio chatter in a different language. You're deciphering what those mean. So I'm gonna put air traffic controller specifically at B tier. It's a cool job. This job category is pretty interesting, but the job air traffic controller in itself, I had a roommate, he was an air traffic controller. Man, that job is stressful. You're handling the airport on your base, pretty much telling planes when to land, when to take off, making sure they don't crash into each other, which is a very big deal. We have so that's going into B tier. Moving on to avionics and integrated systems. This is like making sure that everything on an aircraft, so like the radar, the weapons, they work. I'm gonna put that. It's cooler. It's cooler than weather. Probably. Let's do B tier. Nothing really much more to say about that one. I don't really know a lot of these things, obviously. But moving on to logistics and administration category. So in this category we have institutional support. This is like your services people, and I always felt like these jobs sucked when it, like, you have on every base it's a dining facility. They call it a DFAC, and people just like you, they're the same rank as you, but they're chefs. They're working at the gym, or they're working at the being a janitor at at the dining facility. They're a chef. They're cleaning bathrooms. I don't know. I just never, honestly. We'll go C tier. It's not the worst thing you could do, but I definitely don't see how. Like you're working a dead end job in the Air Force, pretty much. That's what services is. Material management category. So my job I had falls under this category. I was aircrew flight equipment. Aircrew flight equipment. The job really it wasn't that bad, but my work-life balance was really good. Had a typical schedule. I was able to travel. Everywhere needs aircrew flight equipment, so I could have ended up anywhere. I wanted to go overseas. I ended up being in Las Vegas, Nevada. I really enjoyed my time there. Actually, I'm going to put it in B tier just because it's not very transferable outside. Like, I don't know, it's very limited. You could work for Boeing, I guess, and inspect things for them. But that's about it. It's not, the job was cool. I don't regret it at all, but hey, B tier. Next we got resource management and support. This is like these are your desk jobs in the Air Force. So I would put any type of desk job. Your work-life balance is probably really good. Some days I would go into like the finance office and there wouldn't even be anybody working. I'm like, where are these people? What? They just get every single day off. Another B tier. And then there's also like a religious category, which I didn't really know. I don't see why you would. I mean, no disrespect to religion, but I'm not a very religious person, so I'm just gonna put that in D tier. Uh, it's kind of like helping with religious service, church, things like that on the base and stuff. And that's another career in itself. So next we have cyber and intelligence. This is your cybersecurity guys. Jobs like these are probably really transferable, but honestly, I just find them really boring. So, I think I might have like accidentally used a different picture, but the cybersecurity guys here. For cybersecurity, I probably put it at B tier too. So whatever I just said, we're putting both of them with this picture. Then in this category we have intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. So these are like your linguists, your science guys, space systems operator, intelligence analyst. I have no idea what they're even trying to say with these. I'm just gonna put that at C tier. I mean, it's cool, but it's so niche that once you're finished, I feel like once you're finished doing that job, you're done. Like you're not really going to use that outside of the military. Two more categories. We have special warfare and combat support. So getting into combat roles, this is your pararescue guys, the guys that jump out of airplanes and go parachute and rescue people. Your TAC-P guys, tactical air control party. These guys call down airstrikes on places. These guys are fighting on the front lines. I just gotta put that at S tier. To have the courage to do that. Not, obviously it's not transferable, but that having that job in itself and doing those sort of things, crazy. Combat support, EOD, explosive ordnance disposal. These guys are kind of, if you ever watched the movie The Hurt Locker, they're defusing bombs pretty much. So very intense job, very non-transferable. I almost want to just put it at A tier, but at the same time you're risking your life and it's very dangerous as well, so we're gonna go B tier on that, on EOD, even though I just said all that about tactical attack P and stuff, but who cares. Law and order, our last category. Under here we have legal stuff like a judge, being a paralegal, prosecuting people, dealing with court stuff. I'm gonna put that at C tier. Honestly, very boring. If you like it, you like it. I don't care. Very boring. C tier. Safety management and emergency response. These are your firefighters, your security forces guys, your investigators. So SACFO is notorious for just being made fun of because they just stand at the gate all day and scan people in. They're like reading your card and scanning it. I know there's a lot of other things that you can do with security forces. I mean, honestly, SecFo gets a bad rap. I'm gonna give it a B tier though. I feel like it's very transferable. You're a cop. You're a military cop. So, well, yeah, once you get out of the military, you can do a lot of things with that. And not only, you're not just standing at the gate. There's a lot of different categories within security forces that you can do. Fire protection. I knew a guy that was a firefighter. Very cool job. I'm gonna put that at A tier. Very cool. I thought about becoming a firefighter as well, just because I thought it was cool. And then lastly, this isn't even, I think I just like accidentally put this here. This is like being a chemist and science stuff, I guess, for lack of a better term. I'll put that at B tier. So there we have it, ranking Air Force jobs, S all the way to D tier. I hope you guys found this video somewhat enjoyable, somewhat informative. If you're thinking about doing some of these careers and I just completely roasted it, do your own research. Like I'm also on the Air Force career page looking at the details while I'm looking at all these pictures. So that is going to be pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing. Peace. Thank you for watching.